Welcome to the Select Board meeting here Tuesday, April 14th at 6 o'clock in Town Hall. Thank you to Westborough TV for live streaming and recording this event today. If you are so able, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have anyone here for open forum? Not today? Okay. All right. So the number 2 item on our calendar is listed at 6:10. It's a public hearing, so
we have to wait till
to
6.
start at 6:10. Right. So
Can we go to 3?
I think individuals might be coming for number 3.
Yeah.
Dave's here.
We could do number 4.
We could do number 4. We could get Dave out of here early.
Yeah.
You okay with that? The Peace Pole Project, representing the Rotary Club. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Well, thanks for inviting me to join you this evening. Our project chairperson, yes,
Just name for the camp.
Dave Kaiser with the Westborough Rotary Club. I'm representing the entire club. Our incoming president, Anand Datta, is actually the chair of this particular project, but unfortunately, due to business circumstances, he couldn't be with us this evening. So he did prepare a little bit of a statement. So I told him I would be honored to share with you the idea of the Peace Pole. So basically, the Rotary Club of Westborough is pleased to announce a proposal to install a peace pole at Bay State Common Green. A peace pole is an internationally recognized symbol, a monument that displays the message, "May peace prevail on earth." There are currently tens of thousands of peace poles in 180 countries, serving as constant reminders for us to visualize and work towards world peace. The Rotary Club has worked with Westborough DPW to identify the proposed location behind the Main Street side of the band stage. It is about 15 feet from the sidewalk onto the green space going towards the existing playground. The location was chosen as a good place to spark conversation among families and neighbors as a centrally located site for many family and town activities. The project plants more than a symbol. It plants a promise that peace is built locally, one community at a time. We want this to be a vertical whisper in a public place, a quiet landmark that reminds us that despite our individual differences, we all share a common hope for the future. The peace pole will be a 4-sided structure, about 7 feet tall above the ground, made of aluminum. It will have the phrase, "May peace prevail on earth," in the 8 languages of English, Arabic, Chinese, Hebrew, Hindi, Portuguese, Spanish, and Swahili. And we felt that these 8 languages did a nice job of representing the fabric of Westborough. The design is very simple, with ground installation of the pole secured by concrete, surrounded by a small, approximately 2-foot in diameter garden of easy-to-maintain pollinator wildflowers. This will be surrounded by a circle of brick and concrete for visitors to stand upon as they explore the pole. We will work with the DPW to ensure that the final result is satisfactory to their requirements to allow them to maintain the property. We don't want this to be a burden. Our plan is to install the peace pole during the month of May with a formal dedication in June, possibly in conjunction with the Independence Day block party celebration. And at this time, we're coming before you folks seeking approval from the Select Board to proceed in coordination with the DPW with this gift to the community.
David, thank you very much. Thank you for coming here today. Any questions?
I think it's great.
I just wanted to thank you for the gift and thank you for the sponsorship of the farmers market. And I would say that if you can't do it at the block party, one of the Thursdays for farmers market would be a good substitute. I participated in the Franklin Douglas speech reading. I think it was.
Yes.
That was.
Mark, are you speaking to the mic?
Sorry, that was pretty fun. So you guys have always been very creative, and I really appreciate it. So thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
I will move to accept the gift of a peace pole from Westborough Rotary Club to be installed at Bay State Commons and authorize the town manager and appropriate staff to oversee its installation in accordance with town policies.
Seconded.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 4-0 for being present. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Dave.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
All
Yeah,
right,
look
thank
forward
you
to seeing
all.
it.
Thank you very much.
6:07. I think this is usually where we do meeting minutes. To kill another minute before.
We could do Chief Minardi's attestation, or do we need him here? Do some push-ups or something?
He's not going to be doing that.
Why don't we quickly do the meeting minutes for March 24th and April 1st?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of March 24th and April 1st.
Seconded.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor? 4-0. Amanda, thank you very much. All right. And still 6:07. Let's yeah, I suppose we could do item number 7. We're not expecting
No.
for that. So, okay. Let me move around here.
Oh, so it's not his actual physical fitness?
We're
So,
attesting to it.
yeah, so as the part of the new post standard, there is a requirement that as a board, the chief has requested, in our role as his appointing authority, that we complete the attached attestation signature page confirming his good moral character and fitness for employment, but I think that's more than just physical. So, but with that, does anybody have a motion?
Sure. I will move to authorize the chair to act on behalf of the select board, the appointing authority for the police chief position, by attesting to Chief Minardi's good moral character and fitness for employment as required by post.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you very much. Any discussion? All those in favor? 4-0.
Number 8, if you want one more minute.
Sure.
Yeah, number 8 is the approval of the collective bargaining agreements for the period of fiscal year 26 to 29 between the town and the New England Police Benevolent Association. And we have, at our last meeting, we went through the particulars of this as well as at annual town meeting. So this is really just a final vote on that agreement. In incorporation of it into our memorandum of agreement language with the respective bargaining agreement. And this is effective for the period July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Comments, or can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve and execute the 3-year agreement between the town and the New England Police Benevolent Association Patrol Officers Union for the period July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028, as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? 5-0, 5 being present. All right. Okay, it now being 6:10, I will open the public hearing for a new liquor license application for JLK Restaurant LLC doing business as Midi Chula Indian Restaurant.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Patrick.
So, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Is there a formal vote?
Motion to open?
Yeah.
I'll move. Would you move?
Yeah. Well,
I'll move that we open the public hearing for the new liquor license application for JLK Restaurant LLC doing business as Miti Chula Indian Restaurant.
I'll second.
all those in favor? All right, sorry, now thank you
problem.
very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Karthik Raval. I'm one of the owner of the JLK Restaurant LLC, Miti Chula Indian Restaurant here in Westborough. We are seeking this liquor license to better serve our guests. Since we opening the restaurant since December 2024, our customers are consistently asked for to liquor license to pair with our authentic Indian food. And this license is essential for us to provide a full service experience and remain competitive. And we are really proud of the part of the Westborough business community here, and we are look forward to continuing to serve the town responsibility. If you have any questions, concern, feel free to ask me. I'm here for all the questions and answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. With that, we have the packet with us. I think everything appears to be completely in order.
Yes.
No concerns. Save, serve. Any questions from the board?
And you're gonna make your.
Just a comment.
You can go ahead, yes.
Okay. Now, just a comment. Thank you for being here. And I will sound like a broken record because I say this to all folks coming in for liquor licenses, that we're really happy to have you here at this meeting, and hopefully the board will vote to support it, which I imagine we will because everything's in good order. But that just to remind you that we do take the liquor laws very seriously.
Absolutely.
And look to you follow them. We love seeing you here tonight. We don't want to see you back here in front of us because of a violation, and I know you don't want to be here either. So just a reminder to please be very careful, make sure that you're monitoring the staff and be safe with your service of alcohol. So thank you.
Absolutely. As a part of, just like I would just add things, as a part of our application, our owner already have the tip certification. We will have the certification as well, our staff. We have a plan to tip certification. Top of that, we have a safe serve, and definitely we will definitely responsibly serve this. We will
Great.
definitely take care of this.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you.
much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We didn't vote for it.
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
And with-
congratulations on bringing it forward in this, yeah. that's
Yes. Well, and with that,
Well, it's a public hearing.
this is true. Any members of the public? Good.
So with that, I would move to approve the Section 12 all alcohol liquor license for JLK Restaurant LLC, doing business as Miti Chula, and hopefully I pronounced that,
Absolutely correct.
Indian Restaurant at 291 Turnpike Road, naming Jigar Patel as the manager of record.
Second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much
We really
for coming
appreciate it.
before us.
Great. Thank
I
you
would
so
move to close the public hearing.
Seconded. Oh,
Second, all right. All those in favor? Public hearing is closed.
much. Great.
Gentlemen,
Thanks for
thank you
that.
very much.
Appreciate for the great support. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, next,
Still no one here.
we may have some, so.
We could do the affordable housing.
Okay. Oh, wow. See what happens when I'm not here? That was strategic. I get it. I get it.
we're almost done, aren't we?
Yeah. Since
So which
we-
one do we not have people coming for?
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think the only one that we are anticipating someone coming for is number 9, the ATSC, and then also number 3. So you could do any of the other ones.
All right, so we'll move to number 5, affordable housing. And with this, there are 2 projects before us. 1012 Bradish Lane, here for a local initiative program compliance certificate. And then 25 Connector Road, authorizing their regulatory agreement to finalize their closing and record the affordability restrictions associated with the property. Any comments or?
Well, so the Affordable Housing Trust met yesterday and endorsed both of these. One was as our role as the housing partnership. The compliance certificate at Bradish Lane, that was before us in the past for right of first refusal. This is just, they found a buyer, so we don't have to, the Affordable Housing Trust doesn't have to buy it. And this is just to ensure that the affordable restrictions are recorded in perpetuity on the deed. So
In 1012, it's a single
it's a single
property,
unit.
single unit.
Single unit that was part of the affordable housing requirements for the Westborough Village. I believe, isn't it Westborough Village? Yes, Westborough Village. And then Connector Road is they're applying for approval with the state, and this is just a regulatory agreement. It's the beginning steps for them. So they'll be back before us, I believe.
Any questions?
Mike?
I was just going to add that the first motion you have in your packet includes a contingent approval based on the Housing Partnership Committee, but since they did meet, whoever makes the motion does not need to include that.
Questions or comments on either project?
Nope.
Mark, you want to make the motion?
Sure. I move to authorize the select board chair to execute the local initiative program compliance certificate for 1012 Bradish Lane on behalf of the select board.
Seconded?
We have a second. Amanda can choose. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
And I also move to authorize the select board chair to sign the regulatory agreement for 25 Connector Road on behalf of the select board.
Seconded?
No further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0, 5 being present.
Just a quick question. Is it Bradish Lane or Bradish Lane?
I don't know.
I always call it Bradish Lane.
I call it radish, but I don't know.
I just heard different
Well, I don't like
pronunciations.
radishes, so I.
You don't like radish.
The folks who've been in town since they were youngsters, I guess I'll go with.
That street wasn't there when we were young.
No, that's right. It didn't get built until, what, 10 years ago?
There must be some.
If you call Ullman's almonds, then I'll correct it.
That's
It's Ullman's.
Norse.
Yeah.
All right. On to item number 6. Second. And this has two components to it. We've got an easement agreement for 134 Flanders Road related to the traffic signal that has been placed there. It's been signed by the representatives who provided the easement, and it is here for our confirmation, and then as well as additional closing documents for Ellis Walker. Any further comments?
I'll move pursuant to the vote taken under Article 24 of the March 21st, 2026 Annual Town Meeting to accept from Stonegate 134 Flanders Road 2022 LLC a traffic signal easement on property located at 134 Flanders Road, Westborough.
Second.
All right, further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Guys, that's a question. This next one, I think I'm okay with this one because everything's gone through. I just want to verify that I don't have to recuse myself.
Yeah,
It's called Ellis Walker property, but it's not a sale or anything. It's just conservation restriction.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just looking at the settlement agreement, but it looks like it's.
I didn't see anything in there that I
Yeah,
had to.
it said Berry Valley trustees as opposed to the previous owner.
Okay, perfect.
I'll move to authorize the execution of the closing documents for Ellis Walker property located at 0 Bowman Street, including compliance agreement and title insurance affidavit, and authorize the chair to execute the settlement statement on behalf of the board.
Second.
Second, thank you very much. Any discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Okay. So now we are way ahead.
That retreat discussion really worked.
Don't say anything.
So we will go over 9. We have individuals coming for 9. We can move to 10, which is the payment in lieu of taxes program. And I'll just hand it to our town manager.
Okay. So the payment in lieu of taxes program was a goal that the select board set at your retreat in 2025. So it was a fiscal year 26 goal. What we've done in the, according to the action items that were presented after the goal was developed, was we've identified a list of properties that are that are tax exempt. So we have 29 unique nonprofit entities that own 47 parcels of land in Westborough. In looking through that, several of them are owned by churches. So we included that list in your packet. What the proposal would be is for me to send the letter that's included, the draft letter that's included in your packet, which essentially just requests a meeting with these individual property owners to begin to talk about how we might pursue some type of pilot, whether it be an actual payment or potentially some sort of in-kind contribution to the community. And I had also requested that you designate one member of this board to sit in on those meetings. We would probably also include our chief assessor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Questions? Open it up to discussion.
Is that a question? So you brought up many of these are churches. Is there anything unique that we need to know in terms of churches and separation?
I mean, the way that the letter is drafted, it's really just an invitation for a meeting. We haven't developed a program. We're not asking anyone to enter into any type of agreement. So I think one of the things that we'll find from some of these meetings are ways in which some of these entities already serve the community, and we can have just further discussion about, you know, what sort of more formal agreement might be appropriate. I just for the community, just understanding that about 50% of them, I think, are churches.
Yeah, I thought the letter was well written and not overly aggressive or, you know, alarming or whatever. But, you know, I do think it's important for people to understand that this payment in lieu of taxes may already be something that many of these organizations are already doing. We're just trying to formalize it so we understand their contribution, and those that aren't contributing in any way, encourage them to contribute. That's all. I mean, I think a lot of the churches do contribute already. We're just trying to formalize it a little, or in my opinion, trying to get a sense of what those contributions are and their worth to the town. In some cases, that's obvious.
And I think it's worth mentioning that a pilot program is completely optional to the entity. So really just that initial discussion and understanding. I do think, again, that we're going to find that several of them do contribute to the community. We're just maybe formalizing it so that we have a better understanding of what that is.
Yeah, I'm happy to see this letter come forward. This was a goal from our retreat last year, I believe. So it's good to see this come to this point. I appreciate the letter. It's like, to Mark's point, well written. My only question is, you're asking for a member of this board to participate and be part of the process. What wasn't clear to me is whether or not this is this multiple meetings with the 27 different property or businesses, or I'll say nonprofits, or is this 1 or 2 or 3 sessions? How do you visualize that happening? So
I would anticipate that they would be separate meetings with each of the entities. The reason that I offered for a board member to join me in these meetings is because the pilot that we did finalize, that didn't come to fruition just because the Mass General Brigham didn't move forward in town. We had a member of the board be part of those discussions. If that's because there's so many entities, so potential for many meetings, the option is also there that, you know, I could just bring something back, but you're welcome to join.
So I don't think I can participate because I'm on the Board of Assessors, and where we would have to post a meeting for each of those, because Wendy is also on the Chief Assessor is also on the Board of Assessors. So, but if it's a problem, I'll resign from the Board of Assessors.
Well played.
No, I mean, I would actually like to participate in it. I just don't think, I don't think that, well, I mean, we could just post a meeting every
I
time.
don't
Yeah,
think that was the intention. I think
That's not the intention.
I mean, another option, because there
It's a
will be
meeting,
so
it's a
many,
public
I
meeting,
could
and I don't-
just
I don't
reach
think we-
out to individual members and see if you're available, because I'm
Yeah.
not sure that you'd be available for every single
Yeah,
meeting.
I'm happy to participate. I just don't know that I can commit to
Yeah,
27 meetings.
I think if we have hands raised on like who's interested in having the meetings and or participating and kind
Pick
of
one.
first come first serve,
just-
and there might be some personal conflicts where it's not appropriate for someone if like
Sure.
maybe you attend that church and you don't want to be on the
Yep.
whatever. So I'm comfortable with kind of as long as it's not too difficult for you to manage, Christy.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's fine.
Is it?
I guess I didn't follow. You're comfortable with what? I'm sorry.
Well, like, I mean, I'm happy to help with a couple meetings. Sounds like Ian is. Sounds like you might be.
Okay, so we
interested.
could- we
we
could
have
split
like
this up.
3 of us.
Because if it's
Yeah.
over, I'm anticipating by the way you wrote this up, Christy, is that it's something you're looking to get done over the summer. So I'm thinking 3 months, 29 businesses. You're talking, a couple meetings a week to get through that. So I can make myself available as well. So I'll be
She-
happy.
she's
I think-
got-
I think you
If
said
that
just-
works, I just
She has her bullpen now.
okay. All right.
I think the 4 of us are
Oh, Sean.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it as well. And I think especially over the summer with vacations and things like that,
Yep.
in order to keep it moving forward, that makes a lot of sense. So, yes.
Good. Thank you.
Is there? I think the letter is well written. I just worry about like someone's going to get this and they're not going to kind of understand what the intent is, maybe because it's talking about payment in lieu of taxes, like that's right at the top. I'm not trying to. I don't want to wordsmith the letter here.
So we were trying not to make it seem, I think when we initially wrote it, it looked like we had this program in place and we were going to ask them to come in and sign something. So I think the way that we moved away from that was we said that we're in the process of exploring the establishment of a program, and that we want to have discussion in order to establish that.
Yeah,
So
and my only thought is that whole "we would greatly" part, maybe kind of like the open the door at the beginning of that conversation, like at the part at the top of the letter. Just it feels like, hey, and we're exploring, and we would greatly appreciate. And then kind of this is what it is.
Okay.
As a suggestion, it might just land a little softer. I think the other question I had was more kind of a little bit of the nuts and bolts of the meeting that we would have, being that we only have one pilot that we've developed in the past. Or is the intention to create sort of a framework for the discussion so we can kind of repeat it over and over through 29?
I would envision the initial meeting being really sort of open in terms of agenda, because like I do think that folks will come to us and want to discuss the ways that in which they feel that they already contribute to the community. I think we've experienced that with some nonprofits that are looking to come into town, where they've come with sort of ideas or ways that they might contribute. So I think it's pretty open. I mean, certainly we have that completed one we can share with them, but that one is financial, so
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know that we want to start there.
Yeah. And I mean, it does say specifically kind of perspectives, potential approaches,
Yeah.
programs. So, yeah. All right. I just want to make sure we have a consistent approach, at least. I mean, each conversation will have its own flavor, but that we're asking like at a minimum, like the same 3 questions. There might be other things that get brought up, but
Yeah.
that we're being consistent.
Yeah, I'll be at every meeting, so I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
establish consistency.
Okay. Yep.
Just one quick question on the document that you gave us with the properties. Many of them are highlighted yellow. I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out why some were yellow. I couldn't figure out what the
Just
indications.
identifying, if you look at them, the ones that are highlighted are all, those are the non-church properties.
Church. Okay.
So
That's a
that there's a
Columbus.
code, so charitable housing
Okay.
or charitable services as
See
opposed
the
to
Chuffs,
church.
I guess, I don't know. Some of those don't look like, some of the non,
Well, those are vacant properties.
And just to be clear for the public listening, this is only for nonprofits that hold property, not for all nonprofits.
Right.
Okay.
Makes
No,
sense.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would just say that, the way we're looking to do this is because there is no requirement for these folks, that it would need to be a win-win circumstance for something to actually come to fruition, but we want to have conversations to see if we can come up with that win-win scenario. So,
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Some of these folks may have never met our town manager, certainly may have never met any of us, and I think it's a great opportunity for them to create awareness about who they are, what they do, and I remember when the Sikh temple came before us and they talked about the kitchen that they have and potentially emergency services, and if that were ever needed, and that's probably in the back of someone's mind, should we ever
Absolutely.
need it. But
That's a
there
great
might-
example.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but that's a great example of something that might not be formal, but is certainly exists already. Yeah. Yep.
So, do we need a motion for this? I don't see one in our packet.
no.
No, okay.
So
You have your blue pen.
close that discussion. Okay. Thank you very much, Christy. All right. Item number 11, the internship program.
I have 11 as the memo.
Yeah, now
Oh,
it's the MOA.
I'm sorry. I'm on the old agenda. I have my notes on the old agenda. Thank you.
We still have 3, but
Yeah, we also have 3 to do.
But somebody's coming for 3.
Oh, it's
Potentially, somebody's
Let's
coming
see,
for 3.
25.
And then we also have 9. I don't know that we have all participants for 9.
ATSC is, Ellen, is everyone here? Are you waiting for anyone?
Yeah.
yeah, no,
No,
it's fine.
no
We're
rush.
way
We'll
we're ahead,
continue.
so. Yeah.
Sure.
No, we are uncharacteristically way ahead of our schedule tonight, so,
I
no.
think we can probably do number 3 if you want, since no one's
Okay.
here.
Okay. So number 3 is a proclamation for May 2026 to be ALS Awareness Month.
So you need to read that out?
Well, let's, 1 second, sorry, let me just find it. Packet. 81, yes, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to both Mr. Grafe and Ms. Hausman, if I'm saying that correctly, for bringing this to our attention. That May is ALS Awareness Month, and not only do we think about those who've been afflicted with ALS, but those, their friends and family who have the burden of having, helping to support them in their difficulties. And so I thank them for bringing this forward. And yes, if someone could make the proclamation.
So do I need to make the motion in the proclamation, or do I forget the order here?
Yeah, so you would
I would move to,
approve the proclamation and state it, I guess. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
Okay, I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month. And then I'm looking at the sample proclamation.
No, there's one with a
no,
Westborough
sorry,
letter.
down
Keep
further.
going.
90.
Page
Yeah.
90.
Yeah, just keep going. I can do it if
You
you.
can.
I got it,
vote.
I got it.
Oh,
Here
sorry.
we go.
The proclamation doesn't have to be
Here we
part of the
go. I
vote.
got it. It just took me a second to get there.
You don't want us
so-
to read it?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
should read
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
It doesn't have to be part of the vote.
So I'll read the proclamation for ALS Awareness Month, whereas stop right away.
amyotrophic.
Give me a try.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, leading to loss of muscle control. And whereas ALS currently has no known cure, and individuals diagnosed with the disease typically face a life expectancy of 2 to 5 years from the time of diagnosis. And whereas ALS not only impacts those diagnosed, but also places significant emotional, physical, and financial burdens on families, caregivers, and loved ones. And whereas increasing public awareness of ALS is essential to improving early diagnosis, supporting those affected, and advancing efforts towards effective treatments, and ultimately a cure. And whereas communities across the country come together each year during the month of May to recognize ALS Awareness Month and to honor the strength and resilience of those with the disease. Now, therefore, that the Select Board of the Town of Westborough, Massachusetts proclaim May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month and encourages all residents to learn more about ALS, support those affected, and participate in efforts to raise awareness and promote research for a cure, given this 14th day of April in the year 2026.
Second.
Right, thank you. All those in favor? 5-0. Again, Ms. Hausman and Mr. Greff, thank you very much for bringing this forward. With that, we will move to get on the right agenda again. Item 11, the memorandum of agreement, the school town efficiency study.
So we did send to you the memorandum of agreement. The chair and I met with the chair of the school committee and the superintendent a couple weeks ago, and we discussed having a memorandum of agreement in place in advance of starting the school town efficiency study in order to acknowledge what the process would be, and also to recognize the two bodies, elected bodies' authority going forward. The school committee did take this up at their meeting last Wednesday and voted to approve the document. And so we're looking for the select board to also approve. But what it essentially does is it establishes who would be responsible for drafting the scope of the RFP, how the consultant would be identified and the contract awarded, and then also who would provide oversight of the consultant as we went through the process. And there are several checkpoints throughout that where the full board would need to, full board and full school committee would need to make votes.
Great. Thank you, Christy. Open it up to discussion. Questions?
Excited to see it go forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so quickly.
Yes.
It's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And one question, where will this live should someone want to look at it? The public.
Good question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I mean, we can put it on the website. I'm just trying to think
Like
where
where?
it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
We can send it out. Once it's approved, we can send it out with my town manager report
With a
so
link?
people can see it, and then we can figure out exactly where it will go. But it would be on the news initially.
Okay. And if it, as long as it maybe is searchable.
Probably under this, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
probably under the select board. We'll just put under the select board
Makes
page,
sense.
Okay.
right on the front
Maybe we
page.
need MOUs as its own little category. Because we have a couple now.
Now you have two, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Any other comments, questions?
So I would move to approve the memorandum of agreement between select board and school committee regarding an operational efficiency study for town and school departments.
Second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? 5-0.
The MOA identifies the chair as one member of the board. I'm just trying to pull it up. To develop the RFQ. And then there's also would be the chairs of each select, this is the first step, was developing the RFQ. It'd be the chairs of the select board and the school committee, the town manager, school superintendent, one representative from the AFC, and then also one additional member of each governing body. So I don't know if you at this point want to identify that second member to help with that.
Yeah, and we can talk a little bit about, so the hope is that the RFQ is complete, I think, by end of June is the target, so we can get out there, get the proposal out there. And then, I don't know if that same individual would be involved after that, Christy, or is that really just an assignment for May into June?
So the next, after the RFQ goes out, the next sort of oversight work that needs to be done is review of the proposals. So you could decide if that remains that additional member or if you switch to a different person to work with the chair.
Remains two. There remains two through that.
The
Yes.
chair and
The
somebody.
chair remains consistent and then
Yep.
an additional person. Yep. But But ultimately, the final selection is subject to the full body of both the committee, the school committee and the select board.
Thoughts, interest?
I'm interested, but I'll throw it out for others that are interested as well. I mean, I know Patrick and I both
Yeah.
started this or tried to start it in meetings.
We've been trying to start it for a while.
Yes.
To your credit.
Yes.
I'm interested as well. So, I mean,
I'm not going to pound the table over it, so it's
My hands are up. I'm not interested.
Okay.
Interested
Okay.
in learning.
And if I guess if we divide the RFQ and the RFP process or whatever, then both of you could get an opportunity to be involved in the project. I don't know if you have, if folks then have an affinity for one over the other, or
So-
additional thoughts.
Yeah, so one would be scope development and the other would be bid submission review.
it's good to divide that and split it up. It makes sense.
Patrick, you seem to me like a great scope development kind of guy. I don't know if that would be of your interest. Not that
sure.
Ian wouldn't,
Right.
but I feel like that's got Patrick written all over it.
Okay. If you want to move,
and I'll do the other one.
There you
All
go.
right, sounds
You want
good.
to make a
That has it
motion?
written all over it too.
Okay.
All right.
Do we have to motion to appoint?
So I would
Dana?
move to appoint Patrick Welch to the scope development team, and Ian Johnson to the review of proposals and selection of consultant phase, because we all approve the contract.
Second.
All right. Sounds good. Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate that motion. And all the work to get this to this point.
Okay. Next, we have the internship program. And with that, I will hand it over to our town manager.
So this was also a fiscal 26 goal developed at the 2025 retreat. We've had some opportunity for internships previously. So we're looking to essentially amend the employee handbook to include this internship or co-op program. The way that this would work would allow us to identify different projects, and then we would identify what the compensation would be, if any. If there was no compensation, it would be something where an individual would earn credit. We actually had someone here last summer who earned credit through his school, and he was able to help us with policy development and also our newsletter at the time. There is some funds in the town manager budget for internship. And then we actually also have an article from a few years ago with about $500 in it for an internship. At this point, currently, the DPW is hoping to bring on an engineering intern, which they actually have done in the past. And that would be a paid, and they would do that through their budget using their seasonal line. So this is a really good opportunity. We actually, ironically, yesterday had someone reach out from Clark University who's interested in an internship with us. So this is just a good way to sort of put some parameters around it, but give us some flexibility dependent on the project, whether it be for a high school student, a college student.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Questions, comments?
I need to recuse myself on the handbook. It's not a policy, right? So
I mean, it's part of it, but I don't think it has any implication.
I think it's great. I think it's something we've talked about a lot and said we've had it, but it's opportunity for us to, for me, one of the things as we've talked, it's becoming tougher and tougher. People aren't going into municipal service, and getting internships may help educate folks and incentivize them to look for a job or career in public service. But even without that, it does educate them more on how municipal government works, and probably makes them a more educated citizen as well. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and I do want to note that there is a section 3.4.5, which does say preference for town residents or local school graduates may be indicated where appropriate. My question is, local school graduates, what is that?
Graduates of the high school.
Okay.
Assabet.
Or Assabet,
Assabet,
whatever. Okay. So because they may not be a resident currently, but
Right.
that's
Right.
why that's
Yeah.
there. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's great. I think it's great.
Yep.
So I would move to approve the amendment of the employee handbook to include the internship and co-op program as presented.
Seconded.
Second, thank you, Patrick. The discussion, all those in favor? 5-0. Okay. Now we are up to item 13, golf club interim use.
Can I make a suggestion, Sean? Just only because that's at 8:15 and then the ATSC one is before that. We have members here.
Oh, is everybody
I
here?
don't know.
They're scheduled for 7:10, so.
Do you want us, I guess it's a question.
Well, they think
We can still wait though, too.
That's why.
If you're expecting,
The golf club.
Oh, sure.
okay.
Oh, you're all
They're all
here
here.
now? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we will move to item 9 on the agenda, active transportation and safety committee update. Thank you.
Get this. Oh, good. It is coming up, yay. Thank you for inviting us. Great.
Thank you for
You know,
coming.
We've been talking for years about coming and giving you updates, and it's easy to not do it unless you get an invitation. So this is
Yeah.
great for us. So we're the Active Transportation and Safety Committee. Julie's here with me, and I saw Don Byrne walk in. They're here with me because Julie is the expert on safe routes to schools, so any questions for her? Don's kind of like the wealth of knowledge of lots of different things. And of course, Kristen's here because she's a lead on a number of the projects that we started up with her or got going or just suggested, but she did the work. So I wanted to start out, I know this is a busy slide, but I just wanted to start out by acknowledging that we do have a mission and a duties and responsibilities, which I know that Shelby, you've brought it up, that might need to be updated in the future. And, you know, looking at this, that's probably true. So you can sort of keep this in mind or bring it up on your own screen as we're going forward on the things that we have to show you that we've done and that we're planning to do that sort of hit some of these points, not all of them, but a lot of them. So you asked us for an update on 2025. So I copied this stuff right out of our annual report, okay, because it's in there. We did continue to provide comments to the planning board on site plan and special permit applications. These are a few of them. I think this might be the whole list, but certainly with respect to BWALT, but also just active transportation in general. We got the Safe Routes to School walk audit at the high school that we received in last year. It was done in December 2024. We're going to get to more of that I hope you can help me with. Julie and Kristen met with the Westborough High facilities and staff and principal, and they actually, you know, as a result of this meeting, implemented several of the recommendations from Safe Routes to School that they could do on their own property. And there's more that they could do, but they went a long way. We recommended locations of signs related to active transportation to the EDC branding and wayfinding project, and I want to credit Kristen for bringing that forward to us, for looking, you know, where do we want these signs to tell people where, like Chauncey Lake Beach is, or, you know, the different places that people can walk. We provided input on the downtown improvement plan also. We were at every one of those public meetings. Oops, wrong way. We continue to monitor and review the master plan implementation goals. That's one of the things that's in our duties. And we continue to monitor complete streets progress as well. Mainly, Kristen takes the lead on that. She meets with Derek, from the assistant DPW director, is supposed to at least twice a year to go over things and update that. And that's on our website, the complete streets priorities plan. We supported Kristen mainly to apply for a Central Massachusetts Municipal Planning Organization microprojects grant. We were awarded $12,556 for 20 bike routes at 9 locations. I don't know if you want to tell us about the status of that. But I guess the contract is still being signed. We just learned that. So we recommended locations for the bike racks. They're going to be, it's a really nice design that's going to be throughout downtown and other places. So you'll begin to see those probably later in this year. We planned and led a family-friendly community bike ride last May in partnership with Westborough Connects and Westborough Police. We're doing it again this year. You'll see some pictures of that. So we do that every year. And we promoted the idea of developing an active transportation plan for the town and supported planning staff, Kristen again, to apply for a state community planning grant, which we were awarded, and it's going to begin. You'll hear more about that, and I hope Kristen can add to that. But I want to credit my committee member, our committee member, Don Byrne. He was the one who brought forward the idea that we apply and want that we want an active transportation plan. This builds off the master plan. So let's go on to 2026. One of our goals, which you know we would like to do, is implement some of the Safe Routes to Schools walk audit recommendations at the high school. Again, I mentioned this. You've got some pictures there. Julie, you were involved in this. Do you want to take over these next few slides? Sure.
So just in general, we've done walk audits at all the schools in town now, except for Mill Pond, just because of the location. We don't have any sidewalks going up there. So we've completed at all of them. And we've actually gotten a couple of grants because of this process of going through Safe Routes to School. The one on Fisher Street, we helped get that because of Safe Routes to School, and the sidewalk up along East Main Street from doing Hastings. So at the high school, how do you do that? Okay. So we'll go back. So basically, the high school's taken on a lot of the stuff that that was recommended. They've changed the parking direction, changed the way you can go in and out of the back parking lot. They've done a lot of the ADA compliant things that they could do. There's still quite a few things we could implement there, which will probably end up going through school committee at some point, like lighting is a really big thing, or it might have to go towards capital improvement, especially because especially for town hall meetings, and there's so many different activities in the evenings that more lights and definitely signage is something that we need to work on there. But besides that, obviously our crosswalk that we would like to pursue on Ruggles Street. So I think when you guys discussed it last time, it seemed like there was a little bit of confusion. Do you have that one that has the red line on it in here at all?
Well, tell you, it's where they recommended the crosswalk is right in that picture second to the left.
But you don't have that map with the red line in?
I don't. Okay. Well, it might be in the next slide, but no, there's no.
Okay.
That's okay. And then you can see the back.
You could walk us through it, Julie,
Okay.
just.
So if you see that white house on the second slide over, this is where it was recommended by Safe Routes to School to put in a crosswalk. We do have complete streets. They recommended putting it, this was back in 2020, at the intersection of Charles, Baxter, and Ruggles. It was DPW, Derek Sari, and Ellen and Kristen met, and it was decided that it would be better off putting it at the end of the driveway at the high school. It's just too much involved with the other area, which you can see over on slide 3, is the Charles Street area, which is not where we want to do that. No?
Can you just go back to that? So
this first one is that entrance, and the crosswalk will be directly across the street, so just close to this White House, but
Exactly.
further west, I guess it would be.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
We're aligning with that sidewalk.
Correct.
And then just more pictures here of, that's the driveway that's closer to,
This is the driveway coming down along the back baseball field where the little, I think there was like a veterans park there. It's recommended to put along the back of the parking lot as well as the driveway, just going across as a sidewalk, just, to alert people coming out of there. So that one's pretty simple.
that's the next one.
Go ahead. What's it? Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're pivoting here. I probably, I only threw this together last night after our meeting yesterday. Probably it's not in the right order, but it's a little bit of a pivot here. One of the other things our committee's been talking about for many years, or a number of years, is once we moved that crosswalk and got state approval, because it's in state jurisdiction, from further up by Ocean State Job Lot and West Meadow Plaza to Meadow Road, it was moved, and that's great, and the location is good, but what we would like to see is a rapid flashing beacon there because of the high volume of traffic. We would need state approval because where they moved it is just still within state, it's about 10 feet from the town. But it's state controlled, 135 there by the intersection. 158 units over Carlton Gardens, Ocean State Job Lot. We just think this is a high priority now. We also know that there's going to be a corridor study through there, but we think that this can be done independently just because of the high volume and the high number of people there. So we would like to see that, and we'd like to talk about it and see if we can get that. Yeah.
So when we worked with the state to change that crosswalk a few years ago, we did request that flasher there multiple times, but the state had said no. So I guess we can go back to them, or I don't know if we have to fund that ourselves. We'll have to-
I remember the no. Do you remember the reason for the no?
I'm not sure. I could check with Fred Leonardo because I think he was the one who actually was talking to them. You know?
Yeah, I was on the walkthrough before that, and they were basically concerned that they said, let's see how many people are using the crosswalk and what the conflicts are before we go forward. It was just being a conservative.
I thought you were going to say they said, let's see how many people have to play Frogger at the crosswalk. Is probably the better observation.
Ian was first.
Patrick had one.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My question is just in general, when crosswalks are discussed, is it always part of the conversation to talk about a raised crosswalk at these locations as well, or is it generally speaking, it's just the contract, this crosswalk itself is kind of the concept? And just because at this particular location, as I think everybody's aware, there's a lot of acceleration happening at that point with people coming out of the shopping center there, coming off of Route 9, et cetera. To me, raised crosswalks really slow down people quite a bit. So just curious, in general, when you talk about crosswalks, especially in high traffic locations like this.
So let's put that on our list to inquire about that.
We've raised the question of raised crosswalks, actually.
Is it more difficult from your perspective, from the
It's more
state's perspective?
concern, I think for the maintenance staff, there are challenges for DPW with plowing and other things. And I think we need to work with them to make sure that everybody understands, and if we can find something that works. The state has been putting out a lot of data in the last couple of years about how to do these, various traffic calming things in ways that will not terribly negatively impact DPW. So there is more data out here, and I think it's something that the town needs to.
But is there any, in general, it sounds like it can be, or it is part of the natural conversation you have when you look at crosswalks. But do you see, in general, does DOT frown upon that? Or is it really a community by community type thing?
on a state road that's 40 miles an hour, that's a little more challenging than they typically recommend.
Oh, I believe it's 35 there, but I believe people go closer to 50 in a lot of
Yeah, no,
times. So
I know, but I'm just saying, that given,
actually, you're right. It's 30. Yeah.
given
yeah.
the nature of the roadway, they recommend that raised crosswalks be 30 or
Yes.
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, and I'm not saying it can't be done, but it,
Thank you. I just wanted to get an
We
idea.
can raise that with them if we get
Yeah.
to talk to them.
Yeah.
Good, you, Ian.
Yeah, back to the flashing beacon. Do you remember it was the last time they deny it? Do you know because we were asking for them to fund it? And they didn't want to fund it, or-
we weren't really like discussing whether we would fund it or they would fund it. They were just saying, let's hold off for a while was the type of situation. And I mean, their biggest concern was it's been a lot of years, and it's not anybody who's involved with town now, but a number of the crosswalk that had been in Carlton Gardens, and there's several others in town, were actually done by the developer with the town, or, saying, okay, you can do it, but it was on state roads, and they'd like those corrected or, worked with in general.
No, I think it's great to go back. I do think that's a really difficult area, and whether it's raised crosswalks or having that flashing beacon to calm some of the speed down there, I think would be great.
And particularly, the state, as well as Central Mass Regional Planning, is now talking about Vision Zero, which is one of the things to say, make sure that there's better protection for vulnerable road users like walkers and bicyclists. And so
There is a bus stop right there too.
The major bus stop. Yeah.
We've got a lot more to get through.
Okay.
Okay, one
No,
second.
perfect. Thank you.
One second, Mark had a follow-up.
Yeah, on that crosswalk, I know that state approval is needed, and if you do pursue that with the state or Mass DOT or whatever, I'm assuming or hoping that you would still come back to us with an update before anything's installed. I know that would happen in most cases, but I'm just not clear if
I mean,
that would happen
DPW
because
would
it's a
have to be
state control.
involved, so
Well, not if the state installed it.
we don't think the state would install.
Okay, well, just either way, I'd like to just get an update for us and for the public before anything goes in.
So, moving on. So in a way, this is a long list of things we've talked about for many years. So they may not all get done this year, but we're going to start a bunch of them. This is one we've known about for 10 years. We would like to reduce the pedestrian crossing distance at Milk Street at the Rotary. Now, I will acknowledge that we've got the downtown improvement plan, and this may be sussed out there, but one of the goals we have, or one of the major things, is this crosswalk. It's way too long. It needs some bump outs. I bike through the Rotary all the time, but when I walk, I seriously feel I'm way more in danger than when I cycle through there. And this crosswalk is one. So these quotes are directly from the road safety audit that we as a committee, I was on it 10 years ago in November 2015 when we got Mass DOT to come out and do a free road safety audit of the Rotary for us. And that's available. If you guys want me to email it to you, I've got it. I was just referencing it
We
to
have it.
pull these quotes out.
We actually just talked about it at our retreat. and Christy sent it to us. So we all
okay.
have it. Make sure we read it again.
Yes.
It's also on our active transportation page.
great.
All those are.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's on our website too. So consider adding additional curb extensions to shorten the crossings. So we would love to see that done. That may be, part of that might be with respect to the downtown improvement plan.
And this is more of an area that would be good for a raised crosswalk as well on the other side of Milk Street. And I think that would be more acceptable to DPW to have it in a downtown than, along 135.
Here's another one. We're pivoting again, and this one we're actually getting started on. we would like to explore at least and take step after step as long as we can to get toward the 25 mile per hour townwide speed limit. Now, I know 10 years ago when Glenn McLeod was from the police department was on our committee, he looked into it and he says, no, this is too complicated. But in 2023, Charlie Baker, last thing he did before he left office was sign into law the new vulnerable road users law, and that amended Mass General Law, Chapter 90, Section 17C, which simplifies and clarifies the process for adopting the 25 mile per hour townwide speed limit. This would not apply to to state roads, like you can see the example up there, wherever the town controls it, it would apply. 100 cities, I think I counted 99, but it's about 100 cities and towns have adopted, including Worcester, Framingham, Sudbury, and many others, mostly to the east, like almost all of Metro West has done this. They're all saying it doesn't need to result in any more enforcement, but it has been slowing things down a little bit just because of the 25. Everybody's going to go above the speed limit, but way above 25 is less than way above 30. And I didn't put this in the slide, but I asked my friend who's an activist in Worcester, what good is it doing if there's no more enforcement? And she pointed this out to me. She said, when you do have those infrastructure projects that are going to be traffic calming measures, neck downs, that kind of thing, and people say, oh, you're going to slow me down. The answer is, well, you're supposed to be going 25 already. So I liked that. And we are starting we're going to invite CMRPC staff. This gentleman we met at the Regional Vision Zero, who has a lot of information about how to do the 20 mile per hour. And we're going to have to bring in, I said Westborough, no, that's Westborough Public Police Department. That's what that's supposed to be. I threw this together last night. It was late.
I was wondering why the schools were there, but
Yeah, no, it's not the schools, it's the police department. The S should be a D.
Okay.
And DPW also, because there may be some costs involved with signs and them installing things, but the Westborough Police are the ones that we think really need to be involved. Because, originally they really wanted it when they came onto our committee, but then they figured out, oh my God, this is a mess. But with the new legislation in 2023, it's a lot less of a mess.
Can I make one quick comment? You have to remember that any road that already has a speed limit sign on it isn't impacted. It's only the default speed for the side streets and like.
So I've driven through many towns. Concord is an example where they have at the outside, when you're first crossing the town, it says all speed limits are 25 miles per hour unless otherwise posted. So I think you could say that you could eliminate pre-existing signs or convert those signs as well.
That's actually one of the things we're trying to understand, because there is two types of signs. There's signs that the town puts up, and there's signs that the town has put up that they've actually gone to the state and said, we want this to have a 30 mile an hour speed limit. And the state has those recorded somewhat differently than the ones that, there's times that this board or others have said, people have come in and said, people were speeding on my street, I'd like a speed limit sign, and we've accommodated them, but that doesn't officially change the rules of the speed limit unless it's gone to the state. And that's one of the things that the Central Mass people have offered to explain to us how to do, including there may be a place or two where some of the quiet residential streets, there is a sign near the entrance to the street that says 30 mile an hour speed limit, because that's what we could have right now. We may want to eliminate some of those so they can get the 25, because I think they want it, but this is all part of the process of exploring this.
I think it's not to be debated here tonight, but I do think it's a great thing to pursue. I will just give you a heads up. I was actually surprised at feedback I received when I was at the senior center with Bagels with the board. There was strong opposition to this concept. I was shocked, to be honest with you. I was like, really? Like, I would have thought it would have been a proponent group. So I think doing it the right way, it's really interesting that there's a law that makes it easier, and just really kind of mapping out what the impact is, I think will be an interesting discussion for the town.
I've talked to people about this, and a lot of the ones who say, oh, I hate this, are thinking that East Main Street is immediately going to become a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's not going to change, as I say, any of the posted streets. And that's where I think people are confused. They think that we're saying everything is 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. The education coming out, depending on what you just.
So there's two ways you can do this. When it gets right down to it, the select board can actually do this, or you can take it to town meeting. We might want some public meetings, I mean, that kind of process and how you want to go, it is something that you guys would choose after we've come back with everything.
I'd be curious, this is just something you can look into as you look into this project more, as to whether or not there's any insurance benefits, just as an option for residents to better understand is, will their insurance premiums go down if we reduce 80% of the speed limits in, streets in town? Don't know. So that's something you guys could look into as part of this.
Okay, so just nice little map there. Those are the towns that, green, they've adopted it. Yellow, they have a partially adopted. Red is us. We just, so you can see where we are. So you can see a lot of towns to the east of us have done this, and the closest ones are Worcester and Framingham. Sudbury kind of, Holliston's done it also. So the big thing this year is the active transportation plan. Just going through, Kristen applied for a community planning grant from the state. And do you want to come up here and join us? Because Kristen knows where we are in the process. She gave us an update yesterday. It's to hire a consultant to guide the process, develop a plan. There'd be public meetings just like you had for the downtown improvement plan and all of that. We provided input on the RFP, 9 bids received, contractor selected, work expected to begin by June. We're going to have an advisory role. There'll be public input and meetings, and it will be expected to take a year. Again, I credit Don for the idea. I don't know if you want to give a little background on that, and then you can update us on where we're at.
The main reason I pushed for a active transportation plan is years ago we came with the idea of possibly doing a bicycle and pedestrian plan, and it sort of stagnated. And during that time, I talked to a number of the communities, including some that are fairly nearby, and they've done bicycle and pedestrian plans, and at least one of them shared the plan just before it was being published. And I read it, and I said, you might want to look at these 2 pages, and because it was basically the bicycle plan and then the pedestrian plan is 2 sections. And one section, the bicycle section, talked about how since there's no sidewalk here, we have plenty of space to do this. And the other section said, we're going to put a sidewalk, and then it's sort of like, and then talking to Mass DOT people, because I go every year to the Moving Together, which is the active transportation conference for the state. Shelby has attended one year. They said that's one of the reasons we're pushing for active transportation plans now, because it's really more of in this street, this is how we're going to accommodate bicycles and pedestrians and do everything, rather than have section here and section there, and you can easily, even a good consultant can make a mistake, and we have a challenge then. So that was a lot of the goal, and also because it does incorporate things like the scooters and the segways and other things that you see more of, and the e-bikes, and how to accommodate these properly. And
Good, thank you.
I'll just add, this is really cool because Westborough's ahead of it. There aren't many others in the state who've done this. Andover, I think you mentioned.
Andover, and the only other one I did a little more checking. The town of Arlington did comprehensive transportation plan that included an active transportation, but also threw in the buses and commuter rail for their area and how to deal with it. But that's, I think, more than we really want to go for. An active transportation plan by itself is valid.
Got it. Looking forward to
And
hearing.
Kristen can tell you more about where we're at because she's running it.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Melandra. I'm the Assistant Town Planner. As Ellen mentioned, I'm pretty much the lead for this particular project. The master plan does have identified goals that talk to getting a comprehensive transportation plan. So with that guidance, we move forward to identify which type of funding could work. And the One Stop for Growth program is, we were awarded through the Housing Choice Grant. So it is interesting that the state thought that this was a valuable project. You know, there's not a lot of people that have them. I think they're interested in Westborough because of our unique positioning with 495 and the Mass Pike. And then we also have the issue of Route 9 bisecting our community and trying to make connections on both sides, and how we do that safely. And then also reprioritizing, changing mindsets, culture change as far as how do we get around besides our car? Can we walk? Can we bike? Are we safe? And then all of the wonderful things that come out of that. So we identified that, we wrote the grant. We were one of like 11 in the state that got grants this year, so we were very proud of that. And then we wrote the RFP, which we did get 10 people, 10 proposals, which was quite a few. And they all said that they thought we wrote a great RFP, so that was nice. They could accomplish everything that we asked for within the budget that we set. And we did all of those reviews, and we just awarded the grant to, they probably said it at the planning board meeting tonight, but we went with VHB. VHB is the company that also did the master plan for us. They've worked on the housing production plan, so they have a lot of that existing conditions analysis data. They're familiar with us. They are working on the project over on Lyman Street and the shopping center. So we think they're a really good partner to work on this. So we made that decision. We'll be working on contracting. And as Ellen said, the hope is that we can get a kickoff meeting going by the end of May or early June. So then over the summer, we can start working on collecting some of the data and getting some of the community involved.
Great. Thank you very much, Kristen.
We're very excited about this, and you'll hear more about that in the coming year. But moving on, so that was the big stuff. This is just stuff we have ongoing all year, kind of winding down here. We'll continue to review site plan, special permit applications, provide comments when active transportation is impacted. We don't comment on everything. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Monitor and update master plan, monitor status of BWALT and the TIP projects that came out of Safe Routes to Schools. Where we can be, we'd love to be involved in, the 25% design review point. We're going to be at the Downtown Improvement Plan public meeting tomorrow. And we are contributing to the Regional Vision Zero plan led by CMRPC, and Kristen is actually on that committee. Yeah. Great. Other goals we're thinking about, walk audit training, I'll get to that first. So Kristen's been applying for grants to get Walk Massachusetts to do not free, we'd have to pay them, but free to us participants, walk audit training. This is a train the trainer thing where it'd be kind of like a walk audit at the high school that you did, but to train all of us to do that so that we can train others in neighborhoods where they're saying, oh, we need this in our neighborhood, or there's not safe, that they might be able to do that and gather the data with a process. So that's in progress now. There's a grant outstanding now that we're going to hear about next month that Kristen worked on. to see if we can get that money. And then Don had the idea that it may be time to review the Complete Streets policy, not the list of items that are on there, but the policy itself. The list of items that are on the Complete Streets, that may be revisited as part of the active transportation plan and what comes out of that, but that's not where we're going. Do you want to say more about that one, Don?
Yeah, for a number of years, there were awards for good complete streets policies, and they still do. A group called Smart Growth America still does those awards, but the other thing they've offered is the opportunity to say there's this nationally, actually internationally recognized, guidance for what is a great complete streets policy. And they said, if you want to submit your policy, they'll do a review of it and come back to you and say, these are the things you're doing good, these are the things you're doing poorly. Doesn't mean you have to change anything, but it just, I feel that if you get external feedback, particularly if there's a well-known standard, at least means you can say, should we be looking at some of these? And it's not a reflection that says we got a bad policy, but just let's understand what other people are doing and whether we want to do better. And in general, I was an engineering consultant. I feel that the more you can say, somebody externally says you've done a good job or you're using an external standard, the more you can judge that the plan, be an active transportation plan or complete streets or any of these things, are you really achieving what you want to do?
Don, what would the process look like that? Who would we need approval from to submit our policy for review?
Well, they recommend that you submit the policy and particularly highlight if there's areas that you feel or should be, they'd like to.
Do we need permission from the select board to do that?
I feel that we should probably have permission from either DPW, planning, or select board, or all three. It is a judgmental. I don't want to,
It's the select board's policy, so you would need to work with the board.
That's what I was thinking, because they're the ones who
right.
implemented that we've got complete streets.
And I'd want to work with DPW to understand if they feel that there's anything that they're finding challenging with the current policy, so we could highlight, because there's ways you can do annotation and notes before you submit policy to them.
And what would the body be that you would submit this to?
Smart Growth America.
So it's simply a review. They're just gonna, it doesn't, you just get feedback.
Yeah, you get feedback, and it can all be done, on the web.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just I know the town has done other things where we've reviewed or said, how can we make things more efficient or higher quality?
You don't have to even do anything with it.
We can ignore it, but we don't.
Is there a time frame, Don, to do that, or is it just sort of like it's generally open as a?
It's generally open,
Okay.
so it can be done at any time. But I thought that with the active transportation plan, somewhere in that time frame would be good to consider doing it.
And you were bringing this up even before then, because the complete streets policy we've had in place now is 6 years.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. So it feels right. We ready to
I
move?
did confirm with the state complete streets people, you can upgrade the policy, use the old policy until they accept the new one. And so it's not like we're turning ourselves the money bucket off or it's just a process where we can potentially improve things.
Thank you.
So I only had one other thing here. We're doing our bike ride again this year. It's on May 3rd. This has been great. This will be at least the 4th year. And this is in partnership with Westborough Connects. They promote it through their Westborough Unplugs. We contact Westborough Police every year. They provide bike escorts, which is really fun and really cool. And as far as the education piece that we're supposed to be doing, we do the safety talk, and I talk about my safety gear. So it's something that that has been really fun. You know, at first I'm like, oh, I have to give up a Sunday, but it's really fun. So come. And Shelby's been on it too.
Yeah, it is fun.
So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate the update tonight. Well done.
Can I
Thank
ask
you.
a quick question?
Absolutely.
Actually, one on this and then one on a different question. So have you considered collaborating at all with, as part of your charge, with the schools, doing any bike safety, that's on site at the schools, or a little more parent group coordinated?
Not really, but I have thought about the rec department.
I believe last summer the rec department had a safety bike parade or something, but it ended up getting, I think it got canceled.
Oops, someone's behind you. Actually, our rec director is as well, but yes.
I'm glad you brought up schools because that's something we've been working on. So as Julie mentioned, we've done our work with Safe Routes to School as far as the walk audits. But then I've been working like last summer with the principals at Fales School and Hastings and Gibbons. And I attended there in the spring. There's a walk to school day that they promote. And I have to say the staff at the schools have been great partners with me in terms of like asking questions to the kids when they come and then having that data to collect afterwards and getting, talking to the parents. We did a parent survey. We got 75 responses from Hastings School because we tried to apply for one of the Safe Routes bike rack grants for that school. And we didn't get it. The situation is nobody currently bikes because, yada, 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 there's no bike racks, there's this or whatever. But the principal, did say that on the special days, the parents make the effort to come with the kids, ride the bikes, put the bikes in the car, take them home, like go through all of that. So I feel like if there were some racks and additional, sidewalk areas, that could change. So we're working on that and the principals are on board for that. So we'll continue that work. And then I've also worked with Jordan over in the rec department because he is one of their programming items is doing the bike rodeo.
Yeah.
And that's something that we would love to do as far as community education. So I've reached out to him and told him, any way we could promote it together. The Active Transportation Committee can show up as volunteers that day and help. So we are working with those two different groups to do these types of community engagement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And part of this might go to active transportation, the plan itself, but one of the things that I've seen over the past, maybe 3 years is an increasing use of, and I get it, sidewalks, bikes on sidewalks, particularly in the downtown area. And I get it, like as a parent, it's like sending your kid down through the chute is a little dangerous. But it shouldn't be happening. And I think there's an education component there. I also have seen an increase in very fast e-bikes, particularly on the east side of town, probably people commuting. It's usually not kids, it's older individuals, adults. And so those are some other things. Again, I'm assuming maybe
So statewide, it is illegal to ride a bike on a sidewalk in business districts. So that could be an enforcement thing.
yeah. And again, I think it's part of it is we want to encourage bike safety, but I think Jen, you mentioned it's a culture change too, right? I mean, just like slowing down traffic, like I personally don't think that's a bad thing. Some people are really opposed to it, but creating space on the roads, what have you, I really think looking at things in a holistic way to kind of just create safe passage for all people, because those bikes fly and someone's going to get hurt. It's not on you guys. I'm just saying kind of as a general statement, we do have a bit of a problem.
Speaking of the e-bikes, the state just released a report that includes recommendations for changing some of the laws. It was done by MassDOT, but it was asked for by the legislature. And among other things, they actually pointed out that even by our current laws, most of the fast e-bikes we see are not e-bikes by state law. They're
Yeah.
actually e-motorcycles.
Well, right, yeah.
And the law says you have to, have a license and you have to
Register,
have a license plate and all this other stuff. But they're even saying for the e-bikes that are over 20 miles an hour, that's sort of the magic break point. They're going to require a sticker and a registration and tracking and other things. But the other thing is because they nowhere may an e-bike operate on a sidewalk, which that's
Yeah, so I think there's an education opportunity as
Yep.
well. I mean, some people might buy something and not know.
that's one of the things I try to do for the committee is monitor the various legislation and actions that are going on at state level for
No, thank
some of
you.
the stuff.
Thank you all very much. Terrific presentation. Appreciate your review of last year and then future projects for consideration. In closing, I would just say for us, kind of one of our goals this year as a select board was the future of active transportation projects and the structure. That had multiple components to it. Part of that was the creation of the development team was part of that goal. The review of all active projects, and this is a goal that we're looking to complete by June. And part of that is looking at the mission of the Active Transportation and Safety Committee. It's evolved over 10 years. It was the BWALT. There was a town side safety committee. We kind of smushed them together, and then it sort of came apart a little bit. We've now added an assistant town planner, so sort of a reevaluation of how everything sits. In my mind, it's a little awkward that you report to us, but a member of the planning committee that reports up to the planning board is actively involved with you. So just at one of our future meetings, I don't know if it'll be our next one, we'll have some continued discussion. So as we look to close out our goals for this year.
Yeah, and Sean, my other question that I didn't ask, and I don't need an answer now, but maybe in anticipation of that discussion that the board will have, you do have a long list of duties and responsibilities. I would be interested in the committee's view of what really belongs with this committee and what really should maybe be with staff or doesn't belong. So I would welcome that input. And there may be something that's missing that has come up that you feel like should be on that list. So if to the extent that you have another meeting before we meet, and I think that would be maybe an iterative process, I think that would be important.
Our next scheduled meeting is for May 11th.
Okay.
But yeah, we would definitely
All right.
put that on the agenda
Yeah,
as one of the
if you
major
would, I think it would be
things.
good to hear from the committee.
Excellent. Thank you all very much.
There is some national guidance on what active transportation or bicycle and pedestrian, because they're sort of
Yep.
committees should do and what the town should expect for them and the like. And if you're interested, I can forward that
Yeah.
to Christine.
That-
so that-
Yes,
That would be
please.
great.
Please do.
Thank you, Ducks.
All right.
Please, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next, we get on the right schedule.
13.
The, yes, the golf club interim use, and I will hand it over to our town manager.
So this is another goal for fiscal 26 that was established by the board at your retreat in 2025. There was a discussion at that point to look at the potential to use the golf club building as it currently exists for different types of events. I think we were talking about, small events that we might be able to rent the building out for. As part of the action items, we brought in some folks from facilities department, also Board of Health, and took a look at the building as it currently exists. Most of you were also able to come and look at it yourselves. So ultimately, we just wanted to close out this goal. There's a few items that would need to be completed on the building in order to have it sort of event space ready. Inclusive of that is there was that sewer issue back when the restaurant was there. There would need to be some additional exploration to understand, to make sure that there's no sewer issue further down in the pipes. Certainly it was cleaned up and taken care of in the bathroom, but we would want to make sure that there was no blockage further down. There's some painting. We would want to reduce access to the entire building. We wouldn't want folks to be upstairs, for example. So there would need to be some barriers constructed, and then there would really need to be an inspection of the deck. So some of you noticed that there were some soft spots in that deck. Overall, the building, it's heated, it's checked weekly, several times a week. It remains in the similar condition as it was when it was vacated. But one thing that we do not have is we do not have any kitchen equipment in that building, and we also do not have any interior furniture. And so one of the things that we looked at when we were considering the potential to use it as event space was what it would cost to rent furniture. The building, the dining room area, the occupancy limit's about 55 people. So in order to rent, Amanda actually called for 2 companies for us just to get a sense of what that would cost someone who might want to come in. And so to rent furniture for that type of event and linens, it would be upwards of about $600 plus catering, plus whatever fee was needed to be charged by the town in order to have someone oversee that event. We did look at 2 communities that have buildings where they do rent out event space. And so we did include in your packet those policies. Both of them have a requirement for someone who either works for the town as kind of an event planner or, and the other one, a custodian, be at the event. So we would need to be able to figure that out as well. So ultimately, my recommendation for the board was to not move forward with any interim use of the building if the board was to identify long-term planning for this building to be a fiscal 27 goal, which you did do at your retreat on Friday.
No, Chrissy, thank you very much. Yeah, and again, this item today before us is sort of interim, short-term use of the facility. Any thoughts or comments on what our town manager has said here?
Personally, I think, looking at it, I think it was good to get a look at it. I was happy that it was basically in the same shape, but I think, as Chrissy just said, with the decision we made at the retreat to look at that, I think right now I don't know that there's a reason for us to move forward with anything at this point. Because we do have a goal for 2027.
I concur.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Motion? Well, I guess it's really no motion. We're just,
Close it out.
okay, thanks, Christy.
No change.
So, but just that we're all
Okay.
affirmative with the FY27 goal of looking at a more comprehensive plan for the golf club reuse.
And closing out, we can close out the 26 requests.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that work.
Sure.
All right, so we did the minutes. Town manager report.
Yep, so just to
Thanks,
update.
Jen.
Just to update as the follow-up to town meeting, the town council has recorded the certified vote taken under Article 23 of the town meeting, which was to transfer the care and custody, I'll fix that, of the East Main Street property by the Hastings School to the school department, as well as a required affidavit, which town council provided. So that transfer is actually complete just with the recording of those 2 items, and I have let the school know. DCAM has published draft regulations related to their surplus property. So as the board might remember, last summer, DCAM had come to us. They identified a parcel in Westborough that they wanted to dispose of under the Affordable Homes Act, and we worked very closely with them on different potential solutions. And we sort of provided our comments on that process, and so they sent these regulations to us. The planning director drafted a letter with input from myself as well as the Affordable Housing Trust, which I did share with you. But it essentially highlighted the concerns that we had last summer, which was the way that the program was set up. It didn't really provide for requirements around our inclusionary zoning. And then it also didn't give the municipality the opportunity to consider acquisition of the property on its own. And so those were highlighted as well as some others in her letter that went out yesterday. Related to community center development, this spring, Assistant Town Manager, Senior and Social Services Director, Recreation Director, and I have been visiting some community centers across Massachusetts to gain a better understanding of how other community spaces are used. So we're exploring what works well and what could be improved. Some of them are newer facilities, so it's been helpful to hear from users of those new buildings what they wished they had known before they designed their building. So helpful for programming, but also helpful as we move forward with the senior center project. Related to Westborough TV, I had come to you recently talking about different ways that Westborough TV was going to be supporting the town. One of them was what they called article showcases. So that was leading up to town meeting. So they did 6 articles. They covered 6 articles, and they had 50 to 250 views on those, not counting the TV airtime that they provided. Also, Alan and Lisa Edinburgh are now hosting the 01581. So that'll be available for the town to be able to communicate some key topics as we have in the past. Additionally, they're working with several different departments. They're doing a day in the life of a police officer with the police department, working on communication around the downtown improvement project with the planning department. And they just recently got some footage of the library renovation that they'll be sharing. Under the department head updates, the senior center celebrated spring holidays with Eid, Easter, and Passover. All meals were funded through a Massachusetts Councils on Aging grant. The senior tax work-off folks are beginning their job assignments and can be seen throughout the community. And then in partnership with Post 22, a new older adult coffee will be hosted there on Thursdays, 10 to 11:30 or
Is that-
12:30 p.m.
Is that at the senior center or at Post 22?
at Post 22.
And am I old enough to go?
I'm sure you can go.
Okay.
And then the planning department, actually, this is just an update that was just provided by your assistant town planner related to the active transportation plan. And the VHB was selected. So we'll be sending this out as well as posting the MOA that we talked about earlier on the website, and additionally the goals that were developed at the retreat. Those go in 2 sections on the website. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Christy. We are now to issues and correspondence of the select board. I will mention, so we had a retreat this past Friday where we went through this year's goals. We determined goals for next year, and we will be reporting those out in one of our forthcoming meetings. An additional outcome of that offsite was a decision to for the select board to eliminate its liaison position with most committees going forward, with the exception being the treatment plant board as a mixed community board. But a couple reasons for that decision. One was that in some cases, we found that those boards sometimes deferred to us when we were really only there as attendees. And then second, now that we have the vast majority of these boards actually delivering their presentations via Westborough TV, it gives us an opportunity to actually view those meetings to ourselves if we so wish. So sort of kind of diluted the need to be there in person. So I mention that as we give our reports here. We are still members of several committees, but but for the committees that we were liaisons to, that is no longer a part of our duty. And so you may not hear those comments in our issues and correspondence. And with that, I pass it to Ian.
Yeah, I actually have nothing to update tonight, but I just would add that to your prior comment that what we also discussed with many of the committees, like we saw tonight with active transportation and safety, is that we'll be asking them to come in and report to us, and that just provides, I think, from our view as a select board, us all the ability to hear it, but also for community members to hear those presentations as well. And felt that might be a more effective way than us going and then just discussing highlights as part of this
Basically,
late
minutes.
yeah this late piece of the news. So, but I have nothing to comment on tonight.
Ditto.
Ditto? Okay. Patrick?
I just have two things to bring up. One under the local achievements and accomplishments. I just want to put a shout out to the Westborough Food Pantry. If you haven't seen the flyer that they produced in regards to the annual report that they do, they served 395 households with over 6,730 shopping events. Over 250,000 pounds of food was distributed, and thanks to the 76 plus volunteers that worked over 8,000 hours to make that happen. 34% of the food donations came from the town residents, and the rest came from a variety of different food pantry partners, and I'd like to just thank them as well. And then finally, I just would like to ask, or just point out, Bagels with the Board. I don't know if there's anybody who would be willing to trade with me. I'm scheduled for June 16th. I have a personal obligation, so I didn't know, Sean, if you would trade, or Mark. I think you guys are both coming up in the next couple of months. So
Yeah, we can figure that out.
okay,
Definitely.
so all right.
I can just take it for you if you want. I don't mind doing
My
it.
preference would be next week if Sean's willing to do it. If you're willing to trade, Sean,
You want to swap out?
if you're willing.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, whatever you need.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't need to get involved with that. You guys are just,
We're good.
okay. Is that it? Is it my turn?
Unless you guys want to swap.
My turn?
Yes.
So
I think Patrick.
I'm done. Thank you.
I had a bunch of thank yous. I wanted to thank you for any volunteers cleaning up on Earth Day. I wanted to thank the Appalachian State
Police service.
the ASP program for their food drive on Saturday, and I wanted to thank the volunteers who put flags out of the cemeteries on Saturday. I wanted to mention that there is a wine and spirits tasting fundraiser for the Westborough Police Foundation on May 1st, and you can buy tickets now before they sell out. I hope they sell out because it's a good cause. The other thing I wanted to mention,
And that's at Julio's Liquors.
it's at Julio's Metro Station.
Yep, downstairs.
Downstairs.
Yes.
If you've never been there, I've never been down there, so.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Ian has been down there apparently. So, and then I wanted to mention the downtown improvement meeting tomorrow night. I'm sure most people are aware of that. I believe it's at 6:00 at the Great Hall across the street, where we'll get some updated info on updated and plans for the Rotary. I think there's a lot of interest in that. Unfortunately, I cannot make that. I have another commitment that I can't get out of, but I'll watch it on TV, and I hope it goes well for everybody, and we learn a lot. I have a lot of things coming up next month, but I'm going to stop there.
All right, Mark, thanks. And I would just say one more thing. Thank you to Shelby for hosting the 01581 and for passing it on to some worthy successors.
I'm excited for that.
It's, it's not only what you do, but then that something lives on beyond you. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And with that, can I get a motion to move into executive session? And I just have it. It's
Oh, you got it? Okay. Just those three?
Yep.
Okay. I will make a motion to enter executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with all town unions if the chair determines that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the town's negotiating position. And under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation related to the national opioid litigation if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position, and under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A7, to act under the authority of the Select Board to approve executive session minutes of March 10th, 2026, March 18th, 2026, March 24th, 2026, and April 1st, 2026. That's a lot of executive sessions.
All right, thank you. I declare that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on our negotiating and litigating position. We will not be returning after executive session. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor, roll call? Roll call vote.
Johnson, yes.
Marshall, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Keough, yes. Thank you, Westboro TV. Good night.